What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Cjthecheesedj here, and we are back with another top 10 for you guys today. And today, guys, we are taking a look at the top 10 best dinos for exploring Crystal Isles. Now, guys, as you know, the new map is dropping in a couple of days, so we thought we'd go over some dinos that would be really good for exploring Crystal Isles. And all of these dinos on the list do spawn on the Crystal Isles map as of currently. There is one Genesis dino that I'm not 100% sure will spawn on the Crystal Isles map when the devs bring it out. However, there is plenty of space and land for that to happen. So guys, if you find yourselves enjoying the video, please don't forget to leave a like, it really helps out, and subscribe if you haven't already. But without further ado, let's jump straight into it. So guys, coming in at number 10, we have the Sarco. The Sarco is a dual land/river/ocean mount. He's really good for exploring Crystal Isles because Crystal Isles is pretty much got water all around it. It's obviously got the ocean and everything like that. But down in the southern parts of the map, there is a lot of rivers, a lot of ravines and stuff like that, where you can utilize the Sarco's movement speed in the rivers and just absolutely fly through them. It is absolutely awesome with the Sarco, and as well as that, he also hits like a truck. Considering he's a dual land and aquatic mount, he's really good for just cruising around on the back of. You can have a tribe mate on the back of him as well, just sitting there, because he acts like a boat when someone's sitting on the back. And like I said, you can just take him up onto land when you're ready and still have his uses up on land. He's still pretty fast on land as well. Obviously, he's a lot faster in the ocean, and he does use up stamina while in the water. But other than that, like, you know, you can level up stamina, obviously. He's really good for all those sort of things. And, you know, he can easily go toe-to-toe with the monsters of the depths, like the Megalodons, the Plesiosaurs. I don't know if you'd be able to... I mean, I'm probably sure you could probably take him up against a Mosasaur and whatnot. But nonetheless, you probably wouldn't want to take on a whole school of them. But the Sarco, he does all of the roles you would need in a dino. Quick transporting, quick getting around, quick damage, you name it, this big boy, he can do it all. Just don't fight the ammonites down in the bottom of the ocean, because they'll cover you in the liquid, and then you'll be in a lot of trouble from a lot of the underwater dinos. But this guy doesn't have any oxygen levels, so you don't need to worry about oxygen for him. The only thing you do need to worry about is his stamina. However, you can replenish that by sitting still. Oh god, electric eels. That is another thing you have to watch out for. Electric eels. They will electrocute you off the back of the Sarco. Same for the Nidaria, but you know, you might not be using this guy so deep under the water all the time. So do take note of that as well. But the Sarco nonetheless is still a really good mount to take with you everywhere, and I really do enjoy the Sarco. So Sarco comes in at number 10. Now guys, coming in at number 9, we have the Pteranodon. Now the Pteranodon is one of the easiest flies that you can get in Ark. It's one of the lowest saddle requirements that you need at level 37, I believe. And Crystal Isles is a huge map, and it's also filled with lots of floating islands. You can see them off in the distance there, and the Pteranodon is great for navigating those islands because you can stop, land, jump off, get stamina back on your Pteranodon, explore the little island, and then if you come into danger, you can quickly run back to your Pteranodon and fly off again. The Pteranodon's really good. The only downside of the Pteranodon is that he doesn't have the greatest amount of weight or stamina, and that his health is a little bit lacking. So you won't really be able to use him in fighting any sort of dinos really, except for like the most basic low level ones. And you can see there that the stamina on him does run out pretty quickly, so you will need a decent leveled Pteranodon before you can get the full use out of him for exploring Crystal Isles. But nonetheless, he is one of the faster flyers in the game, and he is very useful for exploring Crystal Isles and seeing all the sights that it has to offer. Now guys, coming in at number 8, we have the Thylacoleo. This guy is great. He's pretty much an ATV of Ark. He can pretty much run over everything, and if he can't run over it, well, he can climb up it on the 90-degree angles, because he's got that climbing ability, and I don't think it's going to trigger here. No, it's not. But yeah, the Thylacoleo is great. He's got plenty of melee damage. He's got plenty of health. Easily can take on most of the dinos on Arks. The only thing that he can't really take on are like the Gigas. Other than that, he can easily go toe-to-toe with Rexes, Argies, Big Birds, Wyverns. You name it, this guy can do it. And yeah, the Thylacoleo, he's really great for that, and he just does a lot of damage wherever you take him. And as well as that, like I said, his health pool is absolutely astronomical, and he's just a great mount. He's fast, he's speedy, he's got really good stamina, and like I said, if you come up against an obstacle that you can't get across, you can simply climb up it with the Thylacoleo. However, his only downside is that he's not the fastest swimmer, so you kind of want to avoid taking him into the oceans, but other than that, he's just a great all-round mount that you can definitely use against pretty much everything. Now guys, coming in at number 7, we have the Argentavis. Now, very similar to the Pteranodon, the Argentavis is pretty much a weightier, stamina-y, more slower version of the Pteranodon. This guy can carry a crap ton of weight on him. He's got a lot of stamina, so he can fly for very long periods. His movement speed is a little bit on the lacking side, but he makes up for that with his huge weight pool and his huge stamina pool. You can definitely use this guy to explore the lands of Crystal Isles, especially with all these floating islands and stuff like that. And if you ever find yourself wanting to go up into combat against stuff, you can easily handle yourself and whatever you want to take on. Because of its unique ability to regen when it consumes corpses, it enables you to pretty much go toe-to-toe with Rexes, with pretty much anything you think you can kill, Spinos even. And if you don't want to spec into weight and stamina, you can easily spec into melee damage and health on this guy to improve his tankiness and his fighting prowess, which will enable you to, like I said, go toe-to-toe with literally anything. Except for probably Gigas. You definitely want to stay away from Gigas. But the Argy is definitely one of those dinos you guys should think about taming up when you get onto the Crystal Isles map. Alrighty guys, now coming in at number 6, we have the Plesiosaur. Now it's been a while since one of these guys has been on any of my top 10s, but the Plesiosaur is definitely a great underwater mount that's really good at maneuvering and exploring the oceans of whatever map you chuck them into, because they're really fast, they're really tanky, they've got plenty of damage, and you can chuck platform saddles on them, so you can actually put tribe mates and other stuff on the back of the platform saddles to enable yourself to transport them wherever you want across the map. And the Crystal Isles does have quite a bit of ocean around it as well, and the Plesiosaur is definitely one of those well-rounded mounts that suits being in the ocean. And I put it above. I don't think the Mosasaur deserves a spot on the list because the Mosasaur is really big, really bulky. He is pretty fast, but I think the Plesiosaur does have more uses as a sort of hit and run sort of underwater dino. And I definitely think it is slightly better than the Mosasaur in this example, because you can actually take the Plesiosaur into some of the smaller areas of the ocean, whereas the Mosasaur, you can't really do that. But yeah, the Plesiosaur, he's really good. He's got plenty of damage, plenty of health, plenty of stamina, and, you know, plenty of weight as well. So if you want to ferry resources and stuff like that as well, you can. So I definitely recommend taming up some Plesiosaurs when Crystal Isles drop. But guys, let's move on to the next creature. So, coming in at number 5, we have the Procoptodon. Now, the Procoptodon, he's a really good land mount. Obviously, you can use him to pretty much skip and hop your way through anything. He does have relatively good movement speed, but that paired with his jumping ability just really sets him apart from a lot of other land mount dinos. And if you get into combat with anything you don't want to really fight, you can kick it away. Now, you can probably see that it's a little bit meshy here. Like I said, the Crystal Isles map isn't fully finished yet. And this is just the mod for the game at the moment. But yeah, you can see here the Procoptodon, he's able to pretty much kick away any threats, including T-Rexes. Now, it does deal a decent amount of damage. You can see that we hit it for 271, and you can also use that ability to gather a crap ton of berries, thatch, and wood. We're going to drop all that because we don't really need it. But if you do eventually find yourself on these islands up here, it is probably best to avoid bringing your Procoptodon up there, because he will be able to travel some of the islands, but majority of them he won't be able to hop over, regardless of how many levels you give him. But that doesn't make him useful for other sections of the map where he is able to hop across it. Don't try and take him into water though, because he is a terrible swimmer. Alrighty guys, so coming in at number 4, we have the Bloodstalker. Now, this is the only creature I'm not sure as to whether or not it will appear on the Crystal Isles map. Because it is a Genesis creature, I don't know if the devs will implement it to spawn in the Crystal Isles map. There is an area for it to spawn in, and we'll take you over there. But because it is from the newest DLC, I highly doubt that they will put it on the list. But nonetheless, you will be able to eventually transfer these guys in anyway. So I don't think it'll really matter. So I thought I'd put them on the list anyway, because they're really good for traveling around. They're good for gliding on the ocean and the water, and there is plenty of that in the swamp biome. And you can simply Spider-Man your way around wherever you want to with this guy because of, well, obviously his web slinging abilities. He's really good for just getting around and traversing the map. I really do hope they fix the load on Crystal Isles on like the hardware though, because this map really takes a lot out of your computer, and I don't really see how they're going to implement it to consoles smoothly, because yeah, it is a very, very intense map. But nonetheless, guys, the Bloodstalker is a really good mount. You can obviously get around on him really quickly. You can scout enemy bases. You can do whatever you want on the back of this guy. He's really good for all that. Don't take him into the lava zone, though, because you will probably melt and lose your Bloodstalker. But nonetheless, guys, the Bloodstalker is a really good mount to just jump around on, swing around on. You can see there, you're able to cover around most of the distance. You can web sling on the trees, which is really cool. I didn't actually think you could web sling on the trees. And then once you get over to the Isles part of the map, you can easily web sling over there and just travel them really easily. Obviously, you have to get over to them, but you can see they're pretty clustered close together. So it's going to be very easy for the Bloodstalker to get up there and navigate that terrain up there. Also, guys, this is the area I'm talking about where the Bloodstalkers will spawn. This is an unfinished swamp area that the original developer of Crystal Isles never got around to finishing. So I'm hoping the devs finish it off, but you can see there's plenty of space in these trees for the Bloodstalkers to be able to hang, where you could come across and tame them, and there's tons of these trees. So I definitely think they could implement it into the Crystal Isles map. Whether or not they do so is entirely up to them, and honestly I don't see them doing it because it is a DLC dino, and they nerfed Valgyro for the other stuff as well, like the Rock Drakes and whatnot, because they wanted people to buy their DLC. So let's move on to number 3. Now guys, coming in at number 3, we have the Rock Drake. Now, at the moment, the Rock Drake does spawn in on the Crystal Isles map, and there are Rock Drake nests here. You can probably see one just behind us over there in the corner. Now, these guys are great for just getting around and just traveling. I do think the Rock Drakes are actually the fastest creatures in the game with their glide ability. I think they actually outspeed the Snow Owl and the Wyverns. I reckon they're the fastest creatures. They hit like a truck. They've got really good stamina. They can camouflage. They can climb up stuff. They can do the glide ability, and they can catapult themselves when they're close enough to terrain. If we can get it here. There we go. And you can see there, by chaining that with their glide ability, you can easily traverse the Crystal Isles map with very quick ease. Like, this Isles area over here is very easy to navigate for the Rock Drake because he's got that sticky ability. But even just traveling around the general island of the map, you'll easily be able to glide off pretty much anything here. And, you know, the Rock Drake, he's very fast, very speedy, very healthy. You know, you can deal a ton of damage with him. But other than that, guys, you guys all know what the Rock Drake's abilities are and what he can do. So I definitely recommend getting a Rock Drake from the Crystal Isles map. But the same sort of situation. The devs, at the end of the day, they might take out the Rock Drake's nest spawning area and just replace it with nothing like they did with Valgyro. So, guys, let's move on to number 2. So, coming in at number 2, we have the Crystal Isles Wyverns. Now, these guys spawn in the plenty on Crystal Islands. They're one of the, I guess you could say one of the token dinos of the map, because this variant only spawns on this map. You can see that the head crest is pretty much crystals. Now, in order to tame these guys up on the map, you actually need to feed them crystals, which you can mine from the crystal nodes on the map. And you then have to passively tame them by running up to them when they land and feeding them the crystals. Now, they obviously have a favorite crystal and whatnot, but the Crystal Isles Wyverns are just amazing to look at. They're really good to fly around with. Obviously, they're flyers, so you can get around the map pretty quickly. And I do say Wyverns are one... I'm pretty sure they are the fastest flyer. I'm just trying to think. No, the Snow Owls, I think, are technically fastest with the Griffin. But the Wyverns have the fastest base movement speed. They don't have the glide ability like the Snow Owl and whatnot, but they still have the fastest base movement speed. And these guys have breath attacks. They've got the wing flaps. They've got plenty of weight. They lack a little bit on the stamina, but that is easily rectified with a bunch of points into the stamina. And if you don't want to tame up one of the standard Crystal Isles Wyverns, there is an actual Wyvern cave on here where you can find normal Wyvern eggs and tame up your normal Wyvern like that. However, I would recommend going for a Crystal Isles Wyvern because they are a lot cooler to look at, and they just, I don't know, they just feel a lot different. Not different, but cooler because they've got the different color scheme. They've got slight different alterations in comparison to the standard Wyverns. But nonetheless, there is still the Fire, Lightning, and Poison Wyvern cave if you guys want to go about taming up Wyverns like that. But nonetheless, the Crystal Isles Wyvern comes in at number 2, and I'd heavily recommend it because look how cool they look. Now, you can also get different color schemes for all these guys. We're just trying to head over to the area where you can actually find them. Now, coming in at number 1, we have the Tropeo. Now, this guy is the newest dino to grace the books of Ark, and it looks like an absolute machine. Now, obviously, it's not out in the game yet because we wanted to make this in advance for when Crystal Isles dropped and everyone would be playing on it. But nonetheless, this guy looks absolutely dope. He's got a freaking rocket launcher strapped to his back, which can send him flying even faster. He's got the ability to grind down materials into their basics, so he pretty much functions as a grinder. This dude looks absolutely awesome, and I'm really keen to see how he goes in the map. But the Tropheus definitely gets the number 1 spot because he will be exclusive to the Crystal Isles map. But guys, that is going to wrap up today's video. Let me know what you thought of it down below in the comments. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. But other than that, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.